Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls. Mom's pearls.
Hi, ladies. Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. We are so excited to have you all here with us for another episode of Mom's Pearls. I am Leah, and I am here with my good friends, Sister Brenda and Sister Yolanda. We are all mothers and we are all sisters in Christ, and we discuss life's questions. We are here every Tuesday, and this week we are talking about bullying. And we wanted to discuss this topic with you all this week because we know a lot of us have started going back to school. If you didn't go last week or the week before, you're probably headed this week or next week. So we really wanted to discuss this topic because we think it's so essential. And for those of you who don't know, we're not just talking about bullying for our children and in the schools. We're also going to be talking about some workplace bullying. So let's get our listening ears on. Let's take some notes if need be. Feel free to watch this over and over as you sit down with your children, as you look at your life and your own surroundings when you go to work and how you interact with your coworkers. And let's all gear up for this episode because we are going to be giving you tips. We're going to be giving you things to consider and different ideas when it comes to bullying. Okay, so let's do this, ladies. All right, my. So just looking at this picture, it already makes me feel a type of way. And the initial scene, if you took out the other children, just the gentleman slamming the other child's head into the locker for me is unacceptable. But the other children as well, because they're, allowing this action to go on. And they're, saying we approve of this action by our cameras. And I think that's one of the things about our society today that we really have to be careful of when it comes to our children, because they're so internet friendly. They're so accustomed to YouTube videos and being on the gram and Twitter and all of those things. This is a very comfortable lane for them. So it's so important that we help them to navigate appropriately bullying when it comes to the school environment in general. So ladies, let's talk about it. So what does it look like for your kid to be a victim of bullying? Maybe your kids are young, they start growing up. You're like, okay, so how do I do this? What do I know? Like, what are some signs? So we're going to give you some of the things and some of our personal experiences. So for me, I'll start with the personal experience with my child. So she's 7, she's in 2nd grade, but I remember vividly her being in kindergarten and her having little tiffs with some of the other girls her age in her class. And one distinct memory would be her coming home and she was telling me like, oh, these 2 girls got together and they told the rest of the girls not to talk to me. And it made her feel a certain type of way. And as a mother, your child's like 5 years old. You're like, this is the last thing I want to deal with, her first school experience. And, this form of what is essentially bullying, So I think it's important that we're aware. I think it's important that as parents, we're paying attention to our children. We're taking note of how they change, how they interact, because she's young. So she was like, I'm telling my mom everything at this stage. But as they get older, that might not always be the case. So some of the things that we want to make sure that we're looking out for are if our children seem like they're afraid to go to school, if they find or make up excuses why they can't go to school, what's the reason for why they don't, if they've lost interest in doing their work, or suddenly just start to do poorly in school. I think that's really important for us to take notice of. My child was a straight A student. Now they've gotten 5th grade and they're making C's. It doesn't seem like they're really trying or that they even care. And then also, if they appear sad or moody, that moody thing is something we really have to take into consideration. A lot of times we think it just comes with being a teenager, it comes with the territory, but it's really just so important that we acknowledge when our child doesn't really seem like themselves, when they seem like they might be a little off, or it's been 2 or 3 days and they've been a little shut off, they haven't really said anything. So I think that's super important. And then if they complain frequently of headaches or stomach aches or other physical ailments, things to kind of get them either out of going to school, or they might be being physically abused at school by that bully. So those are some of the things that we want to pay attention to. Yolanda, what are some of your thoughts in regards to kids being bullied at school?
Well, some of my thoughts are going along with the last thing you were just saying with the physical, with the stomach aches. That is a definite telltale sign, because it's from anxiety. So they get anxiety about going back to the place where they're being treated unfairly, not being treated nicely. So they get the stomach aches, they get the headaches, they start trying to pretend, oh, I have a fever, I don't feel well, I can't go to school. That's because of the anxiety and the fear of going back into that environment where they are not safe. And we want our children to be safe when they go to school. And so that's something, one less thing we want to worry about while our children are at school and we have to go to work and deal with what's going on there. We want our children to be able to learn. It's a learning environment. And now we have all these other things that are going on with them. It affects their mental health as well, because then now they can't focus on their lessons because they are concerned about this bully that's going to take their lunch money or do whatever to them after school or after class, or somebody maybe just be sitting behind them kicking their chair the whole time and the teacher can't see it. So you tell the teacher, and then the teacher is like, well, I'm looking, I don't see anything. And then what? And so it's important to be an advocate for your child. Listen to your child. Don't just write them off. Oh, well, you just don't want to go to school. Why don't they want to go to school? Ask why. Be open and be receptive to what they are saying as to why they don't want to go to school.
I love that. I love that. I think it's so important. And like you said, it's not just about the physical, it ties into their mental health, their emotional health, just all of that really kind of goes together. And then, Sister Brenda, what I like to discuss with you on the opposite side of that coin is what it looks like for your kid to be a bully. Like, what are some of those things? So we know it could be your child having a behavioral issue, or your child being a victim of bullying before, and now they're the biggest kid in the classroom, so they're being the bully. But so what are some of the other things, violence in the home? Can you shed a little light on some of the other things that would, be an example, like for me to know, oh, maybe my kid is being a bully. Maybe my kid is going to school and making children feel horrible. What's one of the things, some of those ways that could happen?
You hit a lot of it right on that head, right there. You said it. There are some children who, yes, have difficulties at home because maybe the parents splitting up. They could be in an abusive home situation, or the child just has other issues, and the parent is, or whoever the caregiver is, because sometimes it's not the parent, is so busy just trying to do day to day that they're not zooming in on these issues with the child. And that's something to look at. Why this child doesn't have friends, why nobody plays with them, what does the teachers talk to the teachers? The teachers really do see what's going on a lot of times in the classroom. You need to listen when those teachers call, when they don't, not, oh, I can't talk to you, I'm busy. Listen to what they're saying. It is very important, because there are two sides to the coin with this. There's the bully, and then there's the victim who's being bullied. And we want to get to the bottom of it, because we really want to stop the bullies from bullying other kids. So you gotta try to tune in to what's going on.
I love that. You and Yolanda, you guys said the same thing on both sides of that coin. At the end of the day, it's really up to the parents to make sure that you're communicating with your child, making sure, like you said, you're communicating with the teachers. You're aware of what's going on in the classroom. How is my child's behavior? What are they doing? Those things make such a big difference. And spending that time with your child makes a difference in your child's life as well. It's so important. And I think when we look like, where's the foundation? Where's the place that I can start to really encourage my child child to try to get them to change. One of the places that we love to send you all is to the Bible. There are so many scriptures out there. Matthew 7:12 talks about treating others. You know, you've heard me say it a million times probably already this year, but treating others the way you want to be treated. Ephesians 4:32 talks about being kind to one another. You know, we have Proverbs 15:1, which says turn away from wrath, and then Proverbs 18:24, show yourself to be a friend. So there are so many scriptures that you can start to build that foundation with your child, whether your child is being bullied or whether your child is the bully. The scriptures apply for both sides of it. Here, try being kind to the bully. Why don't you, let's pack a snack for the bully, let's do something, you know, let's shed a kind word, let's you know, show that side of God's grace. So I think it's just so important to look at both sides of those coins, but just remember that God's word is applicable either way that it goes. And it's always just so important to continue to cover our children in prayer on both sides. I'm covering my child, the other children. God bless the teachers, give them strength for the day. So those are all so important. And thank you, ladies. That was amazing. Your tips are so helpful and so important to begin our school year on the right foot. And with that, I'm excited to introduce our Pearl of the Week. Yay! You're muted, sis. We can't hear you. She was going in.
Big boogers, let me quit. They might not understand how they might think they have the upper hand, but at the time they might think so, but God, because see, God is the ultimate all-time fighter. You know what I'm saying? He ain't never lost a fight. And with that being said, y'all, we are all made in God's image. We are all his sons and his daughters. And look, in Psalms 105:15, God said, touch not my anointed, baby. You don't know who you messing with. It could be an evangelist, it could be an apostle, it could be a preacher, a teacher. You don't know, because we all have callings on our life. But I want everybody to know that when our kids are at school, when we're in the workplace, when our friends are in the workplace, we have to pray and ask God to put a covering on them and on ourselves, because we don't know how this book is going to try to attack, but you know he comes in some type of way. That's his job. And our job is to get on them knees and pray and cover for each and every one of us, from the oldest to the youngest. Excuse me. See, the physical, the thing of bullying, it could be physical, it could be mental. We don't know. And what is a 7-year-old gonna know about physical abuse? And that's what bullying does. It's physical. I mean, mental. I'm going mental abuse. They don't know. Physically, you put your hands on me. You know what I'm saying? But that mental thing, people don't understand. A 5-year-old, 7-year-old, 9-year-old don't know how to comprehend that. Or the name calling. They ain't used to this at home. But y'all know what's so sad about it? And then it's good too. We gotta pray for the bullies. Hello. We gotta pray for them bullies. I'm just saying, they might be lonely. Look, y'all, they might be getting abused themselves. You know, we don't know. But we are all God's children. We are all made in his image. We are all his. So I don't care how you try to fight God's kids, God got their back. God has our back. And then, like I said, we gotta pray for the bully. And let God come in and look, our youngsters might be the ones to plant the seeds in the bully. Hello. Some of us older people, we don't know about planting seed, but with God, we can plant a seed too. Okay? Because we have reactions, we have actions, reactions of what we want. Girl, boy, I've been playing. I'm just saying, God, but God. And like I said, everybody, please, if I never said anything to you before, it's running rampant with the suicide rate of kids being bullied. I mean, when you get a notice of a 6-year-old committing suicide, so what do they know about killing themselves? We don't know what they implanted in this boy's head, if they mentally or if they hit him physically. We don't know. The devil is doing his job. Now we need to get on our job and put prayer on these kids, prayer on our coworkers, prayer on our families, and let God do what he wants to do if we step up and do what we're supposed to do. Be blessed, guys.
You too.
Ooh, thank you, Sister Shayla. Well, she went and took us to church day on that spirit of the week. It's an eye opener. We got to listen. We have to listen, and we do have to pray for the bully as well as the person being bullied. You know, God wants us to pray for everyone, not just all the good people in the world, because the ones who do wrong, they're his children too. And he wants us all to be with him and do right. And like she said, plant that seed. Well, ladies, as you know, and speaking to our audience out there, we hope it's not happening to any of y'all, but there is bullying in the workplace, not just in our schools. Us as adults experience bullying at some form, shape, or fashion in the workplace. And it could be male bullying the females. It can also be the females bullying the males, and the females and the females, and the males and the males. It just doesn't make it. It can be anybody bullying you. As my grandmother used to say, not all spirits mix. And so just because I don't like you, I'm going to give you a hard way to go. It is unfortunate. It is not good for the workplace. It affects morale. It affects how your productivity. It makes you not want to go to work. It is just a bad experience altogether. I did experience once, and I found that when I stepped to the person, and it was a female supervisor, and I stepped to her and said what I had to say, and it stopped. She no longer did it anymore. Ladies, have you ever had experience in the workplace, you, Leah?
Well, thank goodness I haven't really had experience in the workplace, but I feel like there's still like a sort of pressure that comes down from superiors that can create a sense of, okay, it makes you uncomfortable. It makes you not able, like you said, that productivity, not able to do your job well. Your interaction with your other coworkers or other team members, you're like, I don't want to be bothered. I don't want to deal. And like Yolanda mentioned, even with the children, with adults as well, too, it can be very stressful. It can create a very stressful environment, a place that I don't want to be bothered with. I was speaking to a friend the other night, and she was just like, just not knowing that the administration, the staff, the people above you have your back. They're not supportive of you. Those kind of things make it a very difficult environment to navigate. So I think it's so important when you're superior, when you're at that level to make a difference and influence others, that you tread carefully on how you deal with them and on what you say. So I think that's really one of those things you have to be careful of.
And yes, it is. Yes, it is. One of the things I see that you can do is, some people don't know where to turn to. So they don't know what to do. It can cost them in losing pay, because now I don't want to go to work. So I don't go to work, I don't make money. Or I go to get somebody legal to help me with this. So now I gotta keep working because I gotta pay money out to that. What is your outlook on all of those things, Yolanda?
Well, the first question was, have I experienced bullying? Yes, I did. It came from the superiors at a place I worked, and they were sending me through hoops to get a pay raise, to put me at the playing field, to be paid what I should have been paid for already with my experience in that position. And it was a mess. I was a supervisor, and it was people under me who were making more than I was. And I had to jump through hoops to get to what I was supposed to be making. And in the end, they ended up firing me. They made some stuff up, and it didn't matter because I got a better job doing less work anyway, which is what I wanted. But it does affect. And I read an article that says 70% of bullies are males, 30% are females, and they usually prey on those who are more compassionate, who are more agreeable with the ones in the office. It comes from the superiors, and it also comes from those who are in the same work level as you. So if you are in the same level as someone who's bullying, it can come through gossip, work sabotage or even criticism. So it's all over the spectrum. And it says 19% of those who were bullied were Caucasians. The rest were those who were not really had the support of the masses. So more colored people are bullied in the workplace than Caucasian people. So that was interesting that was made a point of as well. And so it's financial, like you were saying, financial loss resulting from legal costs, poor team dynamics. So when it's going across the team, when you're supposed to be working in groups, like a lot of places want you to work together, team, if somebody doesn't like you, they're going to be over here talking about you. They're going to sabotage the work you put in, or you will submit something and they will not put your name on it. They'll take your name off, and it can just be messy. So then that reduces the trust that you have in your team and your work. It reduces the amount of effort that you put into your work, because why am I going to keep putting in all of this effort and I'm not getting it? And it puts in fear. So they say you can go to human resources and talk about it, but then human resources also have to come and talk to that person about it. So now it's out in the office that you think that you are being bullied, and now what? Now
Hot
it's
mess.
all over. Oh,
It's a hot mess. And
yes.
it's also too, if you don't address it, it's easy for them. So they will keep doing it, and then it will get worse and worse and worse. There's some things that you can do if you are in this situation. Document the bullying. If you have physical evidence, keep that. Report it at any means, whatever happens behind it, report it. Confront your bully. 99.9 times, they're going to sit down somewhere. It's going to stop. It's going to cease. You stand up for yourself. Review the policies. So when you go to human resources, say, look, this is what it says. This is what you're supposed to do. Supposed to look out for me too. I'm being treated unjustly. Seek legal guidance. You can get that for free, and talk to other people. Reach out. Don't keep this in. It can be too much. It will make you sick inside. Don't do that. And I want you to remember Isaiah 54:17 says, no weapon that is formed against thee shall prosper. And every tongue that shall rise against thee in judgment shall be condemned. Remember that, everyone out there. Remember, God got your back. He's on your side. He's going to fight this battle with you and for you, okay? You don't have to do this alone. You got the Most High right there on your side. And with that note, ladies, we are going to go with Sister Janelle in the Pearl of Health. Yay!
Hi, ladies. Hi.
Hi.
Thank you so much for having me. So today's Health Pearl is a guide to SPF and sun protection. So yes, guys, it is beautiful out here. I'm outside today. It is 86 degrees. It is just so beautiful, but am I protected? Are you guys protecting yourself from the sun's UVA? So sunscreens are safe. If you guys are a little like, I'm not sure about sunscreens, it is safe and it is recommended by all healthcare professionals. All right. So what to look for? Look for a broad spectrum sunscreen. That is the best. Those two, the broad spectrum is gonna protect you from our sun's UVA and UVB, which causes sunburn and it could cause wrinkles and stuff like that. And we don't want that because we're just too beautiful.
Absolutely.
All right. And aim for a sunscreen with at least 30 SPF. Reason being is because it blocks 97% of the sun's rays. All right. No sunscreen is waterproof or sweat proof. So, I love going to the beach and I like getting into the water, or if you have a pool in your backyard, that's fine. But guys, when you get out, please reapply your sunscreen. All right. And for children under 6 months, typically should not wear sunscreen. So how do you protect them? How do you protect your babies from the sun's rays? That's all right. Just dress them in the appropriate clothing to cover their skin, keep them hydrated, the cute little hats, super cute, that protects their heads and stuff like that. And teaspoon and a shot glass rule for us adults. It is said that 1 teaspoon for our face and neck, and a shot glasses, which is about an ounce, should get the rest of our body. That way we're not using too much sunscreen and we're not using too little. So that's a great rule to live by. And 6, sunscreen expires. Okay, FDA requires all sunscreens to retain their original strength for at least 3 years. So there is expiration date at the back of your sunscreen. Double check, okay? Because if it is expired, you might put it on, go out there, and you will get sunburn. And last but not least, some people go for the spray-on, some people prefer not, and that's okay. The spray-on sunscreens are convenient, but not always effective, because sometimes we spray it on and it might not be enough. And you don't want too much sunscreen on your skin. So I say I would go for my old-fashioned sunscreen in a tube. And most importantly, I know we have that beautiful melanin skin, God, but not because of that, we still have to stay protected, especially during the winter season. Oftentimes people ask me, hey, do I still need sunscreen in the winter season? Yes, yes, yes. And there you have it, guys. I'm gonna just sit out here for a little bit, soak this sun in, and don't forget to stay protected. Bye.
Wow. Awesome. 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 Thank you so much for that health pearl of the week about sunscreen. We went to the beach and we did not have enough sunscreen on and we got a little burn. So yes, this melanin skin can burn in the sun. So please put on your sunscreen. And that may have been because we were using that spray. It is so convenient. You just spray and keep going. That lotion, you got to keep rubbing and it's so thick and you got to keep rubbing and rubbing. But it also says on the bottle to put it on 30 minutes before you go in the water. So your skin has time to absorb it. So it doesn't wash right off when you get in the water and you lose all the protection and all the time you wasted rubbing in that lotion. So just another tidbit on that from, our excursion from being burned. You learn a few things from experience. But we're going on with our discussion today. And now I'm going to talk about some confrontation tips to deal with the bullying in the school place. And some of them have already been discussed. And I'm going to lead out with Proverbs 15:1. We're going to jump right into with the Bible verse. Sister Leah mentioned it already, but that's all right. The Bible is useful and handy for every situation we encounter. So it says, a soft answer turns away wrath, but a harsh word stirs up anger. And that goes with these next 2 points. When you're confronting a bully, do not lose your temper. Do not raise your voice and do not involve other students in the confrontation. So that's a soft answer. We'll turn away. Don't raise your voice. Don't yell at them because it's just going to escalate. The bully is going to get more upset. You're going to get more upset, and it could create an environment for a fight or somebody to get hurt. So we don't want to do that. Another tip you can use, I'm reading from my paper if you see me looking down, is to privately to speak with the student or the teacher. I know we tell kids if someone is bullying you, go and tell the teacher, because just like at home, if the parent doesn't know what's going on, they can't look out for it. So if the teacher is not aware that the child is being bullied, then they may not be able to look out for it because they have so many students in the class. So be sure to tell your students to let the teacher know, let the principal know in whatever class that they are being bullied. And as well, for some tips in the workplace, when you are being bullied, it's the same. You recognize it, you respond, and you report. You recognize that you're being bullied, you respond to it by using a soft answer, and then you report it to the proper authorities. You go back to review the policy, like Sister Brenda said. You go to human resources and say, hey, this is a problem. Some things are happening that shouldn't be happening. And this is not conducive to me working in this environment. So I'm gonna turn it over to you, ladies. Do you have some other tips and some things that you have dealt with or have experience with in the school or the workplace? Go ahead, Leah.
For me, as far as the workplace is concerned, I think it's really important to remember that whole idea of preparing yourself for the confrontation, preparing yourself to discuss the issue. Like, it's so important to gather yourself. So many times we escalate things because we go right off of how we feel and our emotions, we're reacting, instead of taking a minute, like, okay, let me gather myself. Let me make a statement. If I need to write it down, let me write down my thoughts, exactly what happened, why I felt this way. So it doesn't feel like you're just coming from a place of emotion and nobody takes you seriously. When it comes to dealing with issues with other individuals at school, but a lot of times when it comes to dealing with issues in the workplace, we still want to be seen as professionals. So that means people have to take us seriously. So we still have to present even difficult topics like bullying, even confronting our bully. We have to present them in a professional manner. So that means a lot of times we can't react off of our emotion. We have to take time to gather ourselves and present the information from there.
That's awesome. What about you, Sister Brenda?
I'm saying one thing, parents, talk to your kids. Really have that good line of communication. Ask them every day when they come home, how was your day today? What happened in school today? Did you make any friends? Do ask them about that. Is anybody you particularly, spend more time with, talk with, y'all do work together? I have an experience with one of my grandsons. He's on the shy side. He came to his mother and he said, I like this kid, but I don't think he likes me. And she sat down and had a conversation with him. And she said, well, approach him. Because my daughter-in-law knows her child and that he's shy. And she encouraged him and told him steps to how to make the friend. And he went to school and he did that. And it was all good. Now he has a good friend.
Awesome. And it is so important that parents are involved, that you give your child that undivided attention. You sit down, when you ask them these questions, you are giving them your undivided attention so they will feel they are being heard. And as adults, when we have these confrontations at work, that it is important to document it so that, like Sister Leah said, you can have concrete evidence to support what you're going to the boss or human resources or whatever your chain is to report these things. And just remember that a soft answer turns away wrath. And Matthew 18:15 says, if your brother sins against you, go and tell him his fault. So go and talk to that person. Be adults. Handle it on the lowest level. Talk to that person first. Okay. And we are now going to move on to the next segment. We're giving this over to Sister Brenda, and we thank you all so much.
Oh, well,
I'll
and
take
that
it.
note.
It's okay. I'll take it, ladies. I think that this topic was so informational and just so important for us to remember all of the tips. Like I said, you guys, viewers, please feel free to watch it over and over again. Sit down with your child and take time to evaluate your own situation when you go to work every day. Make sure that we're being respectful of each other and we're treating people the way that we want to be treated, and we're teaching that to our children as well. So our call to action, don't forget, communicate with your children. Don't forget to evaluate yourself. And you guys just drop us information in the chat. Say, these are some things that worked with me and my children in bullying. This is how I solved my workplace bullying problem. So let us know in the chat some different suggestions that worked for you. We love you guys. We're here every Tuesday. Remember, we're Mom's Pearls and we discuss life's questions. Have a great week.
Mom's Pearl.